One of the things I love most about food is that every dish has a story. It tells us about the people who create it, the places it comes from, and the traditions that have been passed down through generations. Today, we're talking about two of the foods that have become favorites around the world. That's right, tacos and burritos. They're simply delicious and they're found almost everywhere. But there's a lot more to them than what we see on the plate. Welcome to the Edible Valley Podcast.
We want to invite you as we embark on a culinary journey through the heart of Vancouver Island.
From the fertile fields
to the pristine waters of the Pacific Ocean,
we'll explore the stories behind the food that nourishes us.
Tune in to each episode as we deep dive into the flavors, the traditions, and the innovations that make this a true paradise.
Now please join us as we explore our Edible Valley. Welcome back to the Edible Valley Podcast. I'm your host, Chef Jonathan Frazier. Joining me today is Mauricio Velázquez de León, author of an illustrated guide to tacos and burritos, and an expert on Mexican food. And we're going to talk about the history behind these iconic foods, how they travel around the world, and what they can teach us about culture, family, and tradition. Thank you, Mauricio, for joining us, and welcome to the Edible Valley Podcast. It's great to have you on here. So I want to get into a few things because it's super exciting to have you here, and I love talking about this. But before we get into talking about tacos and burritos, can you tell me a little bit about your connection to Mexican food and the traditions that sort of led you to explore this story?
Sure. Well, thank you, Jonathan. It's great being here. I really enjoy your podcast. So the connection it's like a family connection. My great aunt Josefina Velázquez de León was kind of a celebrated Mexican cooking instructor in Mexico in the 1940s and 50s. And she had an incredible career. She wrote over 100 cookbooks. She explored regional foods in all over the country. She was the first to publish a book about the different regional cuisines of Mexico, which was very entrepreneurship of hers at the time. So she passed away when I was a kid, but I mean her presence in my family was always a big thing. So we all knew about her and her work. Although I didn't know that much until I moved to the United States, but food has been always part of my family for sure.
It is that connection, eh? So it's always been that huge part of your life, eh?
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, let's get into what inspired you to create an illustration guide to tacos and burritos.
So we wanted to do a cookbook about tacos. That's how the whole thing started. Just a cookbook about tacos, a cookbook that can teach people how to cook tacos at home. In Mexico, normally you don't cook tacos at home. You go to taquerias or restaurants. They're everywhere, so it's very easy to get them. And when I moved to the United States more than 25 years ago, I started to cook tacos in my own kitchen, trying to emulate those flavors from my childhood and all of these things. So it started like, okay, let's do a cookbook about tacos. Then we added burritos because burritos are for sure a thing that has become incredibly popular in North America in the last 10, 15 years, especially with some restaurant chains expanding all over the place. In general, burritos in Mexico, at least not the burritos that we know today, they are not as popular. They are not that well known. The overstuffed mission style burrito from invented and created in San Francisco, that was very different from it. So we just wanted to do a cookbook, and then we decided to do illustrations and this very interesting comic book graphic novel format, because we wanted this. My ideal readership will be people finishing college, starting their own culinary careers, cooking at home, cooking at their dorms, even like people who are very young, very interested in this format, which is comics and manga and graphic novels. They understand the language, they understand what it is. And we thought about doing it in this format for them. It turns out that it's super interesting for everybody, but we turned to this is the main goal. And we also wanted to be very approachable and fun and serious research but with a fun twist that will make you want to go to the kitchen and start cooking books or learn more about the Mexican food in general.
Yeah, well, no, and that's what I thought. Like that cookbook, like it's really interesting and it's fun to read when you're going through it because there's lots of facts and you've broken down everything into its basics, so you can actually really easily understand what you're trying to cook there. I
Thank
really
you. That was cool. I'm glad you like it.
I would even say that my wife understood how to make tacos after reading that, and her thing has never been about
Okay.
cooking. So
Perfect.
now, why do you think like burritos and tacos have become such a popular food around the world?
Well, I think it's because they are very easy to make. They are easy to find. They are not too expensive. They are not. You don't require to use like a lot of super high-end ingredients, and also they are delicious, right? I mean, they're really, really good. I feel like a long time ago I was studying English in Toronto, and we needed to make some Mexican food. My roommate and I were from the only ones from Mexico. At the end of the semester, we needed to do a Mexican Mexican dish. And back then we went to all these markets trying to find tortillas, and the only tortillas we found were tortillas in a can,
Oh,
corn
geez.
tortillas in a can, believe it or not.
Oh,
I
ouch.
know they were not very good. They were not very good, but we make them work. And now you find tortillas, either flour or corn, pretty much everywhere. The globalization of foods have helped a lot, that you can find a lot of the basic ingredients of Mexican food almost everywhere. And if you cannot find them in your local market, store it out, you can order anything online. So I think that has helped a lot of things. And I think also I feel like people want to have a connection with other people, and tacos and taquerias and burritos are just accessible foods that allow you to go hang out with your friends and go have a quick bite. And it's not too formal, it's not too expensive, it's not too much of a commitment. It's just good food, eating easily, without any fancy restaurants. Just eat nice.
And I love that. That's like my appeal to Mexican is going out there and just it's like it becomes a social event and it becomes fun just to be able to have some nice bites and the food's always got such amazing flavors to it, right? So here's actually just looking at that because you're saying like getting canned tortillas.
I know. I know. That dates me a little bit. But it was just surprising that we couldn't find them anywhere other than in a can.
Right. So like from that, like with when Mexican food is like introduced to other countries, like food often changes. And how do you think like Mexican food has evolved after leaving the borders of Mexico?
Yeah. So when you think about Mexican food and the southwest of Mexico, of the United States, it's always been a continuous back and forth, because a lot of those territories and states who are now part of the United States used to be part of Mexico. So we have Mexican food in California, Texas, New Mexico, way before we lost the territory to the United States. So I think that's kind of like a way to start this trip. But really, I feel like people start discovering more and more different regional cuisines in Mexico. Before in a few years ago, most Mexican food in the United States was either in those states that I just mentioned, or just Tex-Mex food, which is kind of like a regional cuisine from Texas, right? Now people are more interested, because people are traveling more and we are more global. People are more interested in seeing authentic regional cuisines from different countries. So not just like Indian food, or not just Korean food, or just Mexican food, but the specific cuisines from these countries and these culinary traditions. And I think that's one way that has evolved. Another thing is like, speaking of Korean food, like Korean tacos are a huge thing. They're so incredibly good. They are a very, very good match. And I feel like in the streets of LA, the combination of Korean food and Mexican food just became their own thing, with Roy Choi, with his famous food truck. It's just a very smart way to combine two completely different culinary traditions that have a lot of things in common, right? I think the Mexican food is very global now. However, it's still very different outside of Mexico than it is in Mexico in general. There's obviously some similarities. Mexican food, especially tacos and burritos, are so much bigger in the United States than they are in Mexico.
Is it
Tacos
really
in
that way?
Mexico are much smaller. They are a two-biter most of the time, or a lot of the times. Tortillas are smaller for tacos in taquerias. So, like a taco al pastor, which I always use as an example, is really 3.5-inch tortilla, something like that, probably 3 inches. That comes with a little bit of the pastor meat, and you put your salsa, you put the thing. You make your own taco. You order 4 or 5, and you just put different salsas and different toppings based on what you wanted to try and the different flavors that you like. And then you have 4, 5, 6 tacos, and it's not a huge meal. It's an okay meal. It's,
Yeah.
if you have 6 American sized tacos, you probably need to stay on the table sitting for a long time, because in the United States and in general, globalization has made food bigger everywhere, right? And
100%. Yeah.
perhaps it's starting in the United States, but now everywhere food is bigger. So tacos in Mexico are smaller. Burritos in Mexico are super small. They don't have all these many fillings.
Right.
The United States has supersized Mexican food in many, many ways, and it has benefits and problems, right? But
Of course. Yeah.
in general, I like a small taco, because the whole idea of a taco is you want to have as many different salsas and as many different toppings as you can. So you want to have, it's a little bit like tapas in Spain, right? Like you want to have
Of
like
course.
little bites, little things. So small tacos, you can have 6 different tacos with six different salsas, 6 different toppings, and every single one is going to have a slightly different taste or a different experience, right?
You're making me hungry right now.
I know.
That was actually going to carry into my next sort of question, was like, what are some of the biggest like misconceptions about Mexican food and Mexican cuisine? Actually, I think you've probably answered a few of those with keeping the small sizes.
I think I did it. The size is one for sure. The other thing is that we don't use as much cumin as some people think we do.
Right.
A lot of I think you can spot a bad Mexican restaurant just by when you open the door. If it smells a lot of like cumin, it's probably not going to be very good. I think cumin is a spice that has been abused in many Mexican restaurants, and because it adds so much flavor and it's so powerful, it kind of like hides some other things.
Yes.
So that's one thing. The use of cumin is I mean, we use cumin in Mexican food for sure, but not nearly as much. Not in everything, like in a lot of Mexican American restaurants. The other thing is cheese.
Right.
We don't when tacos and burritos, especially tacos, when they have cheese, 90% of the tacos, and in the book we have a whole discussion about it, use fresh cheese like queso fresco or things like that just crumbles on top. This idea of the melted cheese on top of something, it's not necessarily Mexican, and it's not necessarily something that applies to taco. We don't have any yellow cheese in Mexico.
It's not, no cheddar.
Anytime you see like well, we have cheddar, but it comes from the United States, so from England or something. But if
Right.
we when you see a yellow cheese in these Mexican cheese blends that sell in the supermarket, the first thing you see is that they have yellow cheese, and I don't think maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think we have a single yellow cheese in Mexico. We have a variety of different cheeses, but not yellow. So look, those are things that happen once food is alive and food moves around and food fits a lot of different needs. There's a lot of marketing. There's a lot of big companies behind these decisions, and it's impossible to judge everything. But those are like just in general things that people don't use. And the other thing is we don't use hard shell tacos.
No hard shell tacos.
No hard shell. The tortillas are always soft enough to fold, to wrap, and to do different things, unless they are fried, which is a whole type of tacos that we have in the book. We call them dorados or taquitos or flautas. Those are tacos who is a fresh tortilla or a tortilla that we wrap cheese or chicken or potatoes, and then they get fried. That's a different thing. That's not a pre-made hard shell taco.
Right. That's great. I'm learning.
But those are some differences.
And so even talking about that, how does like regionally around Mexico does the taco change? Is that, I'm guessing everywhere has their specialties, and
it changes a lot. It does change a lot. I grew up in Mexico City, because it's the capital and it's a huge metropolis, we have food from all the states of the Republic. So we get to try different kinds of food and have access to all these kind of foods, which is fantastic. But if you compare, for example, the food from the Yucatan Peninsula and the food from the north of Mexico, Chihuahua, Nuevo León, etc., it's completely different. The food in the north part of the country, the kind of tortilla that rules everything is flour tortilla, whereas in the south of Mexico is corn tortilla. Central and south of Mexico is corn tortilla. The Aztecs and the Mayans domesticated corn and gave that gift to the world, and so everything or mostly everything that happens in the south of Mexico has something to do with corn. In the north of the country, there's a lot of beef and cattle ranchers and things like that. In the south of the country, especially in the Yucatan Peninsula and those areas, it's more pork and pork product. And then if you go to, obviously, the coast, there's a lot of fish, a lot of seafood, and if you can go all the way to the peninsula of Baja California, and you find fish tacos and stuff like that being more common. So it changes a lot based in the region. Mexico has a lot of very different regions, and for years those regions were kind of hard to reach from one to another, so they all developed their own specialized cuisine. The Yucatan cuisine is closer to Caribbean food, and the food from from Chihuahua or Nuevo León or the northern states are closer to food from Texas and the rest.
Wow, that's great. I'm still hungry now. Okay, so I know we're getting close on time because we only have a little bit of time. But after someone reads your book here, and we'll say the illustrated guide to tacos and burritos, what's the biggest takeaway you want them to have from reading?
I want people
book?
to get the knife out of the drawer and start chopping and cooking. I feel like cooking is such a great way to share your friendship and love with your family, with your friends, with your neighbors. If you feed yourself and you know how to feed yourself by preparing food, not just talking about buying frozen food and stuff, like preparing food that is not so complicated and is not so difficult and it's not so expensive, etc. You are always going to feed. You're going to be better fed, and you're going to eat better food, and you're going to experience better meals than when you order from a takeout restaurant or something like that. I want people to go back and say like, oh, I can cook this. And the whole idea is like, yeah, you can have a fantastic taco de carnitas in a place that is specialized in carnitas. But if you live in where I live in the Northeast of the United States, it's not that easy to find a good taco de carnitas, but you can make yourself a very decent taco de carnitas in your own home with very little equipment, just a little bit of knowledge and culinary techniques and kitchen techniques, which we explain in the book. They're not complicated. So I want people to cook as much as they can, make and eat more tacos.
Yes. Well, and I think you're totally on that, because I love like, I do Mexican at home sometimes, and it's just fun because it's sort of like a group event, because there's so many different sauces and salsas and different flavors that you're bringing together. So it's something you can actually work there together and then build it together. And I think that's the fun of definitely with tacos and even with burritos as well, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And we have like more than 85 recipes for tacos and burritos here. And we have recipes for salsas and different toppings and things. And we explain how to make black beans or pinto beans for your burritos, and obviously rice if you want to make like a mission style burrito with like meal in one package.
Yes.
That is a burrito. Even if you don't gonna make tacos, you're gonna learn how to make rice and salsas and beans and other things. I think just cooking is such a great experience, and a lot of people get intimidated by it. And I think part of the problem is that cookbooks have like most cookbooks have these fantastic, beautiful photographs of the finished dish, and you cook your dish, and your dish doesn't look like that at all, right? Because you're learning, you're practicing, and the person who cooked that dish is a professional chef and probably has like, the photograph has a lot of food styling, a lot of elements on it, and you see your food and you see the food from the cookbook, and it's not the same, even websites and so on, right? So the idea of using illustrations too is like food sometimes looks funky, sometimes doesn't look perfect. A lot of times the tortilla is not perfect round, but but it's 99% of the time you can eat your own mistakes in the kitchen. You can, if something didn't go the way you do it, you just eat it and it's going to be delicious no matter what. It's not going to be extremely beautiful perhaps, but it will get there. You will get there if you keep doing it, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's half the fun. And I don't think most people realize, if they've ever been to a photo shoot for doing food photos, it's painful and it takes hours.
There's not a lot of food.
There's not a lot, no. And nothing at the
There's
end
a
of
lot
that.
of stuff that look like food that are not actually made of food, right?
Exactly, exactly, for sure. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because I know we got to let you go here pretty quick. But if you could sit down and share one taco with anyone, past or present, who would that be?
Oh, what person? Man, that's a very good question. I actually think that I would like to have a taco with Anthony Bourdain in a good place.
Yeah.
If he was still alive and around, because he would appreciate it and we will have a lot of fun and we will have a couple of beers and really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it will be very interesting, super interesting to have a great taco with somebody who's never had a great taco, but I don't know who could be a celebrity or a famous person who never had a taco, just to see how bring I don't know, bring Eric Haaland, the striker from Norway, to the best taqueria in Mexico City and say, like, look, Eric, I'm gonna teach you how to eat the best taco in the world, and see his reaction. That will be super fun, right? Like, see that. I would love to do that, but I don't know.
It sounds like you just want to introduce everyone, right?
Right, because people who already like and love tacos, it's going to be fun to be with them and say, like, isn't this great?
Mm-hmm.
But it will be also very, very fun to do it with somebody who, like I say, like this guy from Norway who probably never had a taco in Mexico. He probably had tacos in, I don't know, London or something like that, but never in Mexico. Take it to a real taqueria with real Mexicans, with real people, sit him there and see how he rates that experience. I think that will be super interesting.
That'd be great. Well, I would love to share a taco with you sometime if the chance ever comes up.
Yeah, I'd love to.
So we'll put that out there. Before I let you go, if you want to plug the book a little bit, so if people are interested, where to get this book and how to get a hold of it, and
yeah. So the book is available now, and it's available anywhere books are sold, which means that you can order it online on all those vendors that we all know. But if you want to support, and I think you should support your local bookstore and the local business in your community or your area, you can either go to the bookstore and ask them if they have it. If they don't have it, they could order it for you. But if they are not aware, if you want to do it online, you can go to bookshop.org and link the book with your favorite independent bookstore near your house or place of work. And you can order it from them, and the sales go through the bookstore, not through Amazon or one of those big guys. So if you want to support local businesses, you can do that even without having to go to the physical store. And I think that's a super nice way to do it. But yeah, anywhere books are sold, just put it in Google and it will appear in many places.
It's out there. So definitely recommend going out and taking a look at this one, because I definitely enjoyed reading through it there, and I actually probably will go and buy a book so I have one at home here just to flip through on those cold winter days. So when I need to be warmed up inside.
Where are you located?
I'm actually on Vancouver Island out here in British Columbia. So yeah, it's a nice little island, and we do have a couple little taquerias around here that are doing some really, really amazing food. So
I have a Mexican friend who lives there, and he has told me many times that he wants to open a taqueria. So if he does, I'll let you know.
That would be amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on this episode of the Edible Valley podcast.
Thank you so much. This was great, and I really enjoyed your questions, and just this always talking about fun food is amazing.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. Well, thanks for listening to that episode of the Edible Valley podcast. Don't forget to follow us and, of course, subscribe. Also, some exciting news. We have 2 new podcasts coming up on the channel. That's right. We're going to be playing episodes of the F3 podcast, which is all about football, fantasy football, and food, as well as a new project I'm working on, That Cooking Thing, where we dive into some of the questions that you ask for professional chefs. And this is the part where I challenge you to go out and explore your own Edible Valley. Thanks for listening.